These days, almost everyone plays poker. While most casinos and card clubs want to protect their patrons, they don't risk any of their own bankrolls as they do in other games. No matter who wins or loses, they profit from collecting the rate or time. We believe the incentive to protect the game rests upon the players themselves, whether the game is at home, in a club, or in a casino. A poker cheat may use only one or a few of the methods in this program, but that's all it takes to steal the money. In fact, if you thought these shuffles were real, you may already have fallen victim to a shark.
What's up guys, Max here from Poker Bounty, bringing you today a very special poker video on cheating at poker and how poker cheats, card sharks, mechanics use these cheating techniques I'm about to show you to cheat at a game of poker. So you can use these techniques, you can see these techniques and keep yourself safe from being cheated at a game of poker. I do not recommend you to use any of these moves that I'm about to show you in a game, because you may get, punished or beat up if you get caught. This is strictly for educational purposes, so sit back, relax, and enjoy this course. So what you saw there is a series of false shuffles. Now false shuffle is the first thing a cheat learns when he's being turned in. By turned in, I mean when he's breaking into the business. So false shuffles are basically techniques that the cheat uses to control one or a group of cards on the top of the deck or on the bottom of the deck, so he can produce them when necessary in a card game. The first false shuffle that we will learn is the most commonly used overhand shuffle. Now, overhand shuffles are basically used in classic amateur games or home games or private games, and it looks something like this. This is the false overhand shuffle. And as you can see, the top cards here are controlled, represented by the four aces. So how this is achieved is very simple. This is in actuality one of the most simplest, the most simplest false shuffle you can learn. So we use the four aces on top as a benchmark, and now this is how the shuffle proceeds. If the cheat grabs a hold of the deck like this, as you normally overhand shuffle, he cuts about half from the bottom, and as he goes to shuffle the first card, he slightly in-jogs this card like this, so the card sticks out, and then he shuffles the rest of the cards on top normally. So as you can see here, there's a big in-jog like this. There's a card sticking out like this, and what the cheat does again, he lifts at this card and grabs hold of a break here. This is the break. The second step is he shuffles all the cards above the break like this slowly until he reaches the break, and as he reaches the break, he puts all the cards under the break on top like this. So in full motion it's like this: in-jog, shuffle normally, lift at the break, there's a huge break, shuffle the cards on top of the break, and then throw the rest on top like this. And as you can see, with this technique, he controls the top card, in this case the four aces. Overhand shuffle can also be used to control cards at the bottom of the deck. So we place our four aces at the bottom of the deck, and this is the under false overhand shuffle. As you can see, the four aces remain at the bottom. How this is done is simply, first of all, the four cards, or the group of cards the cheat wants to control, is at the bottom of the deck, and then what you do is you keep shuffling normally till you reach the bottom stock, and as soon as you know that you've almost reached the bottom of the deck, you shuffle cards one at a time like this. One at a time you shuffle the cards until you finish your packet. So you have the 4 aces now on top of the deck, and what you simply do is, again, as you go to shuffle, you shuffle the top 4 cards like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now the 4 aces are at the bottom of the deck, and now you shuffle normally on top like this. So in fast motion, it's something like this. You have the 4 aces at the bottom. You shuffle normally till you reach the end of the deck. Then you shuffle one by one like this. Again, you shuffle the top 4 cards normally, and then you shuffle the rest of the deck on top normally. So you have the 4 aces at the bottom, and that is the false overhand shuffle. The next shuffle that we learn is the in the hands riffle shuffle, and it's something like this. As you can see, the 4 aces here are controlled at the top of the deck. This is done in the exact same manner. The 4 aces are taken at the top of the deck, and what you do is you simply have to maintain the top 4 cards at the top while you shuffle. And how this is achieved is, first of all, you break the packet like this. So your right hand packet is the top of the deck, and as you shuffle, you simply shuffle off the cards normally until you reach the top, and as you reach the top, you let the cards on the left hand fall first like this, and the remaining cards fall like this on top. So you maintain the top aces like this. Again, break the packet in two. Your right hand is the top packet. You let the cards fall normally until you reach the top of the deck, and then you let the left hand cards fall first, followed by the right hand cards to fall on the top. So you maintain the top stock. The in the hand riffle shuffle can also be used to control cards at the bottom of the deck. So you place the 4 aces at the bottom of the deck, and then what you do is you do the reverse. The 4 aces now are in the left hand packet, and as you start shuffling, you let the cards in the left hand packet fall first like this, and then you shuffle the rest normally. So as you see, the 4 aces will be now at the bottom of the deck. Again, in full motion, it's like this. The 4 aces are at the bottom. Your left hand packet has the 4 aces. You let the 4 aces fall like this, and then you shuffle the rest of the deck. So you have maintained the 4 aces at the bottom of the deck. And that is the in the hand false riffle shuffle. The next false shuffle that we learn is the on the table false riffle shuffle, and something like this. And the 4 aces are controlled at the top. How this is done is simple. You place the 4 aces of the cards you want to control on the top of the deck. You break the deck like this in half almost, so you know the right hand packet contains the top cards. You simply shuffle the cards normally until you reach the top of the deck, and like in the hand riffle shuffle, you let the left hand cards packet fall first, and then the remaining top cards of the right hand packet fall last. So the 4 aces are controlled at the top again. You break the packet in half. The right hand packet controls the 4 aces. You let the cards fall normally at first, and then as you reach the top of the deck, you let the left hand cards fall first, followed by the right hand cards, so the 4 aces are at the top of the deck. In the same way, the 4 aces can also be controlled at the bottom of the deck. You place the 4 aces at the bottom of the deck, and now what you do is, as you break, the left hand packet contains the 4 aces at the bottom. You let the 4 aces fall first, like this, and then you shuffle the cards normally. You mix them again. Let the 4 aces fall first, like this, then shuffle normally, and in this way you have controlled the 4 aces at the bottom of the deck. So that is the on the table false riffle shuffle. Now the on the table riffle shuffle is used by major casinos and major high stakes games, but there's a small stipulation to this. The casino stipulated that after each shuffle like this, a small group of cards has to be cut from the bottom and put on top. So after each shuffle like this, a small group of cards has to be cut from the bottom and placed on top, and what this does is it ensures there is no controlling of the cards, and this method truly does not let you control any cards. But there's a way to it, and I'll show you how. So we take out the 4 aces first as our benchmark. Okay, so you place the 4 aces on top of the deck. So this is how a cheat will do a on the table riffle shuffle with the boxing included. So how this is achieved by the cheat is that first of all we have the 4 aces on top, the cards we want to control. We break the cards like the normal on the table riffle shuffle. The right hand pack contains the 4 aces. We shuffle, making sure the 4 aces fall last on top. We square the deck, and now we have to box. And how this technique is achieved, this false boxing is achieved, is as you cut the cards from the bottom of the deck and place them on top like this, you hold a break like this. From the front, it's almost invisible, but from the back you can see I have a huge break held by my thumb. And then after I hold the break, I again simply cut the cards at the break, and I again shuffle. So the 4 aces now will be here on the left hand side. I again shuffle, I square the deck, I cut, and then I strip. Now you have to remember which way you pull the cards, okay? So for example, the 4 aces, I'm sorry about that. The 4 aces are on top of the deck. We cut the deck in half, so now we know the aces are in the right hand packet. We shuffle, making sure the 4 aces are on top. We square the deck. Now we false box. We take half the cards from the bottom of the deck and place them on top. And we hold the break on top of the cards we just cut to the top. And now you know that the 4 aces are here, okay? The 4 aces are here. So now it depends which way you want to cut. So if you cut the top cards to the left, the 4 aces will be again in your right hand packet, so you have to control the 4 aces here on the top. And so the 4 aces are in the here. Again, you shuffle, you square the deck, you box, you hold the break. You shift the top cards to the left, so the cards here are again on the right. Again, you shuffle, you box. If you want to strip the top cards to the right, now the 4 aces are on the left, so you have to make sure the left hand packet cards fall last. So you have controlled the 4 aces on top with the boxing included. So again, I'll show you this with the 4 aces face up, so this will help you visualize. So the 4 aces are on top, cut the deck, 4 aces are on top, you box, again you cut, again you shuffle, you box, hold the break on top of the 4 aces, Again, you cut the deck in half. Now the aces are on the left packet, so you make the aces fall last like this. Sorry about that. So you make the aces fall last on which side the packet is. False box. Again, you make the aces fall last. You square up the deck, and with this technique, you have controlled the 4 aces on the top of the deck using the on-the-table riffle shuffle with the casino stipulation included. In the same way, you can control the 4 aces at the bottom of the deck the exact same way. You cut, you make the 4 aces fall first, and you place the rest of the deck on top. You false box. So the 4 aces are at the bottom of the deck. I mean the cards you cut to, so 4 aces are at the bottom. So as you box, the 4 aces are on top here. You strip the top packet. Let the cards fall first. The cards fall first. Square the deck. So you have controlled. Sorry about that. I messed up. So again, sorry about that. So the 4 aces are at the bottom of the deck. You box, make the first ace fall. You box, strip at the box, cut at the box. Let the 4 aces fall last, and now you have controlled the 4 aces at the bottom of the deck. The next false move that we're going to learn is called stripping. Now stripping is a technique, a move incorporated by the casinos to prevent cheats, to keep track of the cards. So this is how a strip would look. So first of all, we'll shuffle the deck normally like this. Then we'll box, and then we'll strip. Small packets of cards like this. And this breaks sequential stacking and gives the card a more thorough mix. So how it looks like is this: simply, as you riffle shuffle like this, you then box, and then the dealer strips the deck like this, and this gives the card a more even mix and breaks up sequential sandwiching. And now you will ask, can this move be falsified? Absolutely. So this is how a cheat will do a false stripping. So we have our 4 aces on top of the deck. He would shuffle normally like this, box, and then he would strip again, shuffle, box, and then strip. And as you can see, 4 aces are still at the top. How this is achieved by the cheat is he wants to keep the cards, he wants to control at the top of the deck like this, in this case the 4 aces. He riffle shuffles the deck, making sure the 4 aces on the top fall last. And he then uses his friend the break. He cuts the deck in half like this, and he holds the break with his thumb. He then transfers this break to the right hand, and then he slowly with his left hand he strips small packets like this until he reaches his break. And after he reaches his break, he lets the remaining cards fall on top like this. So as you can see, the aces are still on top. I'll do this face up to give you a better understanding. So the 4 aces are on top. He shuffles, he boxes, and then he strips until he reaches his break. After he reaches his break, he lets the card fall on top. And this is how a cheat will do a false strip. Under normal speed and circumstances, this will go something like this: shuffle, box, strip, and as you can see, nothing has changed. One more convincing way the cheat will use the false stripping technique is by use of a bridge, and this is how it would look like. We'll use the joker and the 4 aces as the cards you want to control, and you put them on top of the deck, and now this is how a bridge would look like as a cheat would do. is how the cheat performs the bridge strip cut. So the cards you want to control are the Joker and the 4 aces. They go on top. The cheats first breaks the card like this in half, shuffles, and make sure the right hand cards fall last, so the cards are kept on top like this, as you can see. He squares the deck up, he does it one more time, and this time as he squares the deck, he conceals the cards fully with his fingers, and then as he's about to square the deck fully, he gives a slight bend to the top card with the help of his finger like this. Gives a slight bend like this. As he squares the deck up, gives it a slight bend like this. So as you can see, the top card has a slight bend to it. And what this does is now you can strip legitimately and he can still find his stock. So he strips, he cuts the deck in half now, and he strips legitimately. He squares the deck up, and now he feels for that small, gap that will be there in the cards because of the bulge in the cards. So as you can see, he picks it up, he feels the bulge, he cuts, and as you can see, he has cut to the 4 aces. I'll do this face up again so you can visualize it. So you have the 4 aces and Joker at the top of the deck. He shuffles, keeping the cards on top. Again, he shuffles. As he squares, he gives a small bend to the Joker. He strips, he squares, and he cuts to his stock. And that is how the cheat performs the bridge cut strip. So far we have seen our false shuffles and strips and cuts that the cheat uses to control a small group of cards either on the top of the deck or on the bottom of the deck. Very rarely will a cheat need to control the entire deck order. Very rarely, but if you ask me, can it be done? Absolutely. The entire deck order can be controlled in a, legitimate looking shuffle, and this is how it would look like. So this is how an entire deck control would look like. I have broken the deck into blacks and reds, and now this is how a cheat would accomplish this move. As you can see, nothing has changed. So this is how the cheat managed to control the whole deck and shuffle the deck without messing up a single card. So the cheat basically used 3 moves for this. Number 1 was the push through shuffle, number 2 the gambler's cut, and number 3 the up the ladder cut. And I will show you in detail how these 3 moves were done. The first move was the push through shuffle, and this is how he would look. First of all, I've separated the deck into blacks and reds so it's easy for you to know that the deck won't be mixed. So the first move is the push through shuffle. So this is how the push through shuffle is done by the cheat. The cheat breaks the deck in half legitimately as though he's going to do a riffle shuffle. He shuffles legitimately, and then he pushes both the decks in legitimately, but he pushes it at an angle like this, you see? Not like this straight up, but at an angle like this. And what this does is that the 2 corners now come out like this on the 2 sides like an X, as you can see here. And now the thief covers, the cheat covers the front of the deck of the packet with his fingers, and with his thumbs and middle finger he pushes the deck like this, straightening out the deck. But as you can see, as the deck straightens, the two corners bulge out. And you can see if I just pull these corners out, I can literally push these two decks apart. And this is how the push-through shuffle is done. So as he squares up the deck, he hides the front of the deck with his fingers here, and then he grabs one end with his left hand, and with his right hand, with his thumb and middle finger, he just separates his deck and slams it on top, and it looked like he shuffled the deck and then gave it a box cut. So in fast motion, something like this, he shuffles, he pretends to square it up, and then he slams it on top, and as you can see, the reds and blacks remains unmixed. So that is the push to riffle shuffle. Once again, I'll show you. I'll take the top card as a 10. He breaks the deck in half. He shuffles legitimately. He pushes these two in at an angle. As they're almost half in, he uses the thumb to straighten it up like this. As his three fingers on the left and right hands cover the front, he then grabs one end with his left hand and the other end with his right hand, middle finger and thumb, and rips apart the entire portion again and slams it on top. And as you can see, the entire deck remains unchanged. So that is the push through shuffle. So after the push through riffle shuffle, we saw the cheat do two sort of cuts. The first cut was the gambler's cut, and this is how the gambler's cut is done. It's like this. So once again, to give you an example, I'll place the aces on top for reference. Okay, so we have the four aces on top, and now after the push through shuffle, this is the gambler's cut. As you can see, the aces are still on top. And how this is done is pretty simple. I'll leave the four aces face up so you can follow. So you grab the deck like this, and you cut almost half and place it on top here. And as you go to place on top, you hold the break as usual. So your thumb holds the break. So you have about 1/3 on top and 2/3 at the bottom. You then cut 1/3 from the bottom again like this, holding your break. You slam on top, and the remaining cards under the break go on top. So in one fast motion, it's like this: 1, 2, 3, and the four aces remain on top. In normal motion, 1, 2, 3. So this is the gambler's cut. The next cut that the cheat did was the up the ladder cut, which is similar to the gambler's cut, and it's something like this. As you can see, the four aces remain on top. I'll place the four aces face up so you can follow. Again, the four aces are face up. You cut about half the deck, and you hold the break as you square the deck up like this, and then you cut to the break and slam it on top, but at an in jog like this. Okay, there's an out jog here, then you slam. You cut half from the part here, so you take about half from the out jog area and slam it like this. You take the remaining part and slam it on top like this. So in one fast motion, it's like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, and as you can see, the aces are on top again. One last time, the four aces are on top as you can follow. 1, 2, 3, 4. So all these three moves, when done in harmony, look something like this. The push through shuffle, he pushes in like this, goes to square, slam it on like this, the gambler's cut, and then the up the ladder cut, and as you can see, the four aces remain on top. And those are the three full falls shuffles that control the entire deck. The next move that I'm about to show you is known as the wash. Now the wash is done mainly in casinos for every shuffle, as it breaks any stacks or sequences, and this is how a cheat would do a wash. And after the wash, a few shuffles. And a few cuts. And as you can see, the 4 aces are retained on top. So this is how a false wash is done by the cheat. The cards to be controlled here are on top. In this case, are 4 aces. We put these 4 aces on top. And now what the cheat does is he takes the deck up on his right hand and he throws like this, so the cards to be controlled go towards the left. And with his upward motion he pushes some of the cards outward like this, so the cards to be controlled are still here. He knows the cards are still here in a sort of a stock. He mixes these cards first, and at the last he takes these few cards like this and he brings them on top like this, and he casually mixes like this, not making any movement. And now he knows his 4 aces are still on top. So he then squares the deck up like this, and from here he can do any one of the 4 shuffles we just saw. So as you can see, the 4 aces are still on top even after using the wash. Once more, the 4 aces on top, face up so you can follow. The cheat throws them like this. He mixes a few cards and then puts these cards on top, and then casually mixes like this, not making much movement. And then he squares up the cards with his 4 aces on top, and then he can give any false shuffle we mentioned. Give it a few cuts, and the 4 aces remain on top. So that is the secret of the false wash. So just now we saw that the cheat uses the wash to control a group of cards. Let's say the cheat wanted to control just one card. For this case, the ace of spades. And this is how he would do it. You can see the ace of spades remains on top. So this is how a single card wash is achieved by the cheat. As you have guessed, a single card wash is much easier and convincing to do, and this is how he does it. So the ace of spades is on top of the deck, the card he wants to control, and now he throws the card like this randomly, and he sort of palms the last card. Okay, the ace of spades is palmed here, and he just gently mixes the card with the ace of spades still palmed. So he mixes, and then slowly he just lets go of the card to the side, and he mixes like this, keeping track of this card, and then he just places the card on top like this, and he squares the packet. And he knows that he has controlled the ace of spade on the top, and then he can use any false shuffle and keep the ace of spade on top again. I'll do it face up. So the ace of spade goes on top. He palms the ace of spade like this. Just at the end, he just casually throws it aside, washes, places on top casually, and then squares the deck like this, knowing that the ace of spade, his control card, is on top, and then he can give any one of the 4 or 5 false shuffles that we have learned and control the ace on top. So that is the false single card shuffle. The next move that I'm going to show you is called culling cards. Culling means to take cards from the middle of the deck and stack it at the top or the bottom to be used for my or the cheat's advantage. And so let's assume this is a shuffle deck, legitimately shuffle deck, and now the cheat washes the cards like this. The cheat doesn't know the position of any card. He does a legitimate wash. And now if the casino allows the dealer to square the cards with the cards facing himself, the cheat can use this to his advantage. So as he squares the deck up, he can see various cards and he can square them on top, and he can use these cards now to his advantage to deal to himself or the partner. So as you can see, the cheat has culled the cards. He legitimately washed it, gave it a few cuts, and now you can see the cheater has managed to cull very good cards here. Ace, king, ace, king. It could be 4 aces, could be 2 aces. So let's see how this was done. So the deck is legitimately shuffled. The cheat doesn't know the position of any card. He gives it a fair wash like this. And then as he goes to square the deck, the faces of the cards are facing him. And so as he goes to square the deck, he realizes he sees 2 aces here, you see? 1 red ace, 1 black ace, and what he'll simply do, he'll place the aces on top like this, and no one will notice, because as there's such a mess of cards, no one actually notices this. And then he simply squares the deck up, give any false shuffle we learned, give it a few cuts, and as you can see, the cheat has managed to cull 2 aces, which he can deal to himself or his partner. So that is the process of culling cards. The next move that we will learn is called culling while mucking. So let's say the cheat wants to control 2 mucked cards during a poker hand. This is the muck. So let's say player 1 throws his mucked cards. Let's say they are the 2 aces, and now this is how the cheat will control these 2 aces while the hand is going. So while the hand is finished, he takes all the cards from the players, throws the player card in the muck, and then he gives it a wash. Squares the deck up. Give it a few shuffles. And a few cuts. And as you can see, the 2 aces are controlled. I mean, the player 1's cards are controlled by the cheat. So this is how culling while mucking is accomplished by the cheat. So let's say this is the muck. The cheat wants to control these 2 cards that are mucked by player 1 to anybody. After the hand is over, or even during the hand, the cheat pretends to throw these 2 cards into center. That's what the rule states. But what he does sneakily is, as he lifts up the cards to throw these cards in the center, at the very last moment he drops these cards, and these 2 cards go right on top. I'll show you an exposed version. These are the 2 aces face up, and this is how the move will look. Again, at the very last moment, the cheat drops these cards, and the 2 aces go on top. He then simply washes the cards again with a false wash, as I show you, and he controls these two aces at the top. He squares the cards up, and then he can use any one of the false shuffles we have just learned to control these two aces on top, and then he can use these two aces or two cards to deal to himself or his partner. So that is the explanation for culling while mucking.